Starting up, and I was like, oh yeah, I want to do big power and all this and that. I want to do some major gains on my daily. It just made no sense. A lot of kids who work in their cars start on the weekend because that's their day off. But the thing that's really bad about that is when you do that, most of these shops that you go for parts aren't going to be open Sunday or Saturday late. So you gotta sort of ghetto rig it on through AutoZone, O'Reilly's parts and all this and hope it works. And it's either a hit or miss whether they have the parts or not. And you're just gonna run a ghetto rig. And the thing is, a lot of these kids, they become really procrastinating about it because they're like, I already did it, I'm never gonna do it again. It works, it runs, so I'm just gonna send it. And come to find out, you're actually dealt with more issues down the line because you did it half-ass, and here you are sitting here crying to yourself because you went cheap on a coupler or ghetto fabbed up this charge pipe, and comes to find out it's not even gonna fit right and it's rubbing against something and it makes a hole. So that's my whole thing there is I give it to those kids who are all oh yeah, I want a high horsepower daily driver, when it's you can't do that. You can't do a high horsepower daily driver. The best I could say, if you want a fast daily driver, buy a performance.
Buy something that's stock.
Yeah, buy something that's stock, that's quick, and just do a basic tune on it. Basic tune, intake, and exhaust. I hate to say that's just the most basic mod, but your daily driver. You want to have a show car, you want to have a high horsepower car. The thing is, a lot of these kids don't learn is you need to build cars for a purpose.
Yeah.
So that's just the thing there is you want to build a track car. Well, a track car is not going to look pretty because the track car is going to have road tar on the front fascia of the car. It's going to have tire.
Well, that's yes, but no. I say every race car is a show car, but not every show car is a race car.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. A purpose-built car that's used and bashed and beaten, you can for sure enter that into a show and have people actually give you kudos for that, because people see that, hey, look, you're actually using your car. Sure, that could be a thing, but at the same time, it's still a purpose-built car. Don't take a purpose-built car for the track or whatever that's covered in road rashes, that's covered in fucking road rubber and everything, has I don't know, scrape marks or rock chips, and think you're gonna win first.
Don't be like somebody taking your show car with a 2JZ in it, go to Hoonigan and blow your motor. Don't be like them.
I don't know who that is, but that was a hit towards them. Haha. I actually do know who that is, but I'm not gonna say their name. Haha. But either way, with that being said, haha, I said my phrase again. I was in the cord.
Why are you turning so slow?
I don't know. But that's just my only thing is purpose-built cars are not made to run 100% of the time. There's always going to be hiccups, there's always going to be issues, there's always going to be problems in the future. And that's just the thing is, a lot of these kids don't learn is, they're oh, I want to make a car that's going to go down the drag strip, do fucking 10-second quarter miles, and I still get to drive it home.
Well, yes, you can do that, but the maintenance is going to be outrageous.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But I mean, back in the day when 10 seconds was super hard to achieve, sure, whatever, the new S4, whatever, can achieve 10 seconds, a 10-second quarter mile with a couple mods and some bolt-ons, and still drive around downtown and all that. Well, I guess, best example is Civics. Civics have always been used for multiple purposes, minus drifting, unless you do, a chassis swap.
Well, look at what Honda just did. They made a drift car.
Yeah, see, but that's the thing. That's a purpose-built car. Somebody's not dailying that car on a daily basis, is what I'm saying. You will, but you don't have the money or own that car, is what I'm saying, you see? So,
yeah.
Point case. But, I guess a Civic is the best example, because there are Civics who are show cars, there are Civics who are track cars, there are Civics who are drag cars, and there are Civics who are just daily drivers. And that's just the thing. Dudes who do show car Civics know that it's not fast. Keep it nice and slow, low and clean. Can't really argue. Get some dope rollers.
Well, the best show Civic is Violets.
Yeah.
in Colorado, and that shit's fast. That's faster than 80% of the cars out here.
I mean, I give my sis that and everything, but at the same time, like, my sis knows her car's worth.
Yeah.
And she's not gonna daily it. She knows her car is a pretty looking car, and I know for a fact she would hate her car to like get scuffed up or paint or bullshit.
Both her and Jimmy.
Yeah, like by all means, like if they could drive their, in a perfect world, they could drive their car everywhere they go and not deal with the headaches of like random issues, shit fucking up, this and that. I'm sure they would take that option all day long. But I mean, like, that's why my sister has an SUV and Jimmy has his truck to drive to work. So that's just the thing, like, their cars are purpose right there. So, but the thing is, when it comes down to it, it's like, think about it. For them to make their car reliable and drivable every other day they want, or just like if they want to hop in and drive it and not worry about anything, they put in so much money that a lot of these kids assume that they can cut corners and get away with it. And that's just my argument there, is like, I can't really stand kids who like are like, oh, I bought myself a WRX, I'm gonna put all these mods to it, I'm gonna put down huge power, and I'm still gonna daily drive it. Like, no, dude, you can't do that, because you bring in a lot more maintenance to it. If you actually look, like, I guess like the best example is like looking at like GT2 cars and GT cars and GT1 and all them.
Yep.
Like, they have an X amount of motors they are given throughout the season to run and drive it, and if they blow up those motors and they don't like survive throughout the season, they're done for. Like, that's it. Like, ain't nothing else for you. You pretty much don't finish the rest of the races for the whole season. And like, that's the thing, is like, those are purpose-built motors that are ran on the track, driven hard, torn down, and then swapped for another motor until the end of the season. So that's the thing, is like, those guys have purpose-built cars. They're race cars pretty much. I mean, a race car could easily, you could bring that into a show and people are like ooh and awe, because it's wide body, big tires, center lock wheels, doing fucking 600-700 horses reliably on the track. But that's just the thing, is you don't see those dudes daily driving those cars on a daily basis. They are not. So that's just the thing there, and there goes that cord. So that's just my little argument there. My little tidbit of my opinion on the situation is, a lot of these kids don't understand that if you have a daily driver, it is to be a daily driver. It is completely different from being a race car and more. And I guess like that's one thing I learned pretty early, was like, I love my wagon. If I could daily my wagon everywhere I go, I mean, my wagon would be the better car to keep as a daily driver than to make it into a race car. But the whole reason why I like my wagon is because it's a touring vehicle, it has a long body, it has a wide stance, and something that I learned from physics is the best way to get high speed stability is length, the best way to get maneuverability is width. And that's why I like that chassis, because it's significantly longer than my GD chassis I had on my STI, and it's much wider than my STI at the time. So I can't really complain. It has the best of both worlds. Granted, my lack is my chassis is heavy as hell. Whatever, make more power, push that weight, plain and simple. And yeah, that's just how I've always seen it. It's like, I wish half of these kids would just get the understanding that like, you can't have a dual purpose vehicle. Like, drift cars, you don't see drift cars hitting the drag strip, laying down some 10-second quarter miles. You don't. You see them, like, sure, maybe they'll do it once in a blue moon, but like, you don't see drift cars immediately saying, oh, I just finished this drift event, now I'm gonna go win the fastest bracket race on the block.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You don't see that type of shit, is what I'm saying.
I mean, you could have a jack of all trades car, but it's never going to be a master of one.
No, it's not, and that's just the thing. Like, you could have a car that can do a little bit of everything, but do understand it's not going to be the cream of the crop for everything. That's how I see it as.
Yeah.
So like, going back to the daily driver, like, I get kids who want the daily driver to be fast and quick and all that. Just go buy yourself like a decently fast daily driver and like do the basic ass mods and don't touch it anymore. Shit, add wheels and coilovers and intake and exhaust and call it good. Don't get any further than that. It's a reliable daily driver. Get a basic tune and you'll be happy. You can't argue, you can't get mad at yourself. And then that's pretty pretty much plain and simple. And then your race car, you could actually set it up where it will do that 600, 700,000 horsepower. And then you can actually set it up to be purposely built and everything. Like, I think the big thing that most certainly made these kids have this idea and this dream set that like, oh, I'm gonna have a high horsepower daily driver is like Forza or Need for Speed, where like,
well, Fast and the Furious too. That's a big.
But Fast and Furious, the thing was like, at the same time, those street cars, you know for a fact those street cars didn't do huge power. I mean, like, even like the actual, like, because you know how like Fast and Furious, the first one, they actually had 10 of the same copies of each car.
Yeah.
Where they were built, again, they were built for certain purposes and stuff.
Yes.
Where one was made for jumps, one was made for looking pretty but stock, one was a roller, one was actually the original hero car, and it did a little power or whatever, and it was made for rollers, it was made for interior shots and everything. But like, that's the thing, that's another prime example, is like Fast and Furious. They still made each car purposely made for each situation.
Yep.
So like, that's just, you can't have one car to be the jack of all trades and be perfect at it. Like, that's just, it doesn't work like that. And I think that's like that for sure. Like Fast and Furious and like Gran Turismo, well, not even Gran Turismo, because Gran Turismo you race on the track. Fast and Furious, Need for Speed, Forza, the like open world, Forza Horizon and all that, like those opened up the thought process of like, oh, I can make my car do everything.